Tudor England offered a tranquility far removed from the bustling noise of the modern era. Instead of being roused by the clamor of traffic and blaring sirens, medieval inhabitants found their days accompanied by the gentle sounds of church bells resonating across fields, the melodic chants of monastic voices, the bleating of animals, the patter of rain, the soothing notes of a lute, or the impassioned outbursts of anger or love. Now, over 4 centuries since the reign of the Tudors, this ephemeral auditory landscape is challenging to recreate. Yet, other facets of daily life from that era, ranging from elaborate feast menus to the grim realities of medical treatments, remain more accessible to our understanding. So let's explore the Tudor Period Aristocracy Lifestyle. Before we start, please support my channel by clicking like and subscribe buttons. Stringent sumptuary regulations dictated the permissible colours and styles of attire based on social class. The downfall of Edward Stafford, 3rd Duke of Buckingham, was partly attributed to his flaunting of opulent garments, including royal cloth of gold and silver, gold chains, and costly hues rivaling the king's own attire. Even decades after his execution in 1521, Elizabeth I reinstated laws in 1575, mandating that her subjects dressed according to their societal rank, aiming to curb the trend of ambitious men bankrupting themselves to appear as gentlemen through extravagant attire. Architecture provided another avenue for societal display. Due to the high expense and scarcity of glass, indoor spaces remained dim, with windows considered a luxury. Affluent households showcased Renaissance pillars and roundels on their exteriors, while interiors boasted wall tapestries and cupboards adorned with precious gold and silver utensils. Conversely, lower-class dwellings were characterized by functional simplicity in design and decoration. Contrary to common belief, the Tudors were not notoriously unhygienic. Manuals for seats and records indicate that cleanliness and pleasant odours were highly valued among the Tudor aristocracy, though their methods differed. Elizabeth I, for instance, reportedly cleansed her hands with perfumed water before each meal. Courtiers donned linen undergarments beneath their lavish attire of wool, silk, leather and furs, which were regularly laundered with lye soap and fragrant substances. Since outer clothing rarely made direct contact with the body, it received less frequent washing and was often treated with herb-infused powders or turned inside out for freshness. Some court members carried perfume bottles or pomanders filled with herbs and spices to combat undesirable odours. Commoners attempted cleanliness by bathing in ponds or rivers, yet this posed the risk of drowning. Essentially, one's social standing was often perceived as lower if they appeared dirtier or emitted unpleasant odours. What did the Tudor people eat? The wealthiest echelons of society indulged in a lavish array of meats, including partridges, pheasants, geese, eels, deer and hogs, accompanied by decadent desserts flavoured with exotic spices like cinnamon, ginger, cloves and saffron. At the extravagant Field of Cloth of Gold summit of 1520, hosted by Henry VIII and Francis I of France, guests delighted in opulent delicacies such as gilded swans, candied orange peels, wine-soaked pears, fruit jellies, Tudor wafers, spiced hippocras, gingerbread, porpoises, and even a dolphin. Conversely, the less affluent subsisted on hearty stews crafted from humble ingredients like cabbage, leeks, and modest portions of meat, complemented by brown bread and locally grown vegetables and fruits. Ale served as a ubiquitous beverage across all societal tiers, while beer, wine, and syrup-based drinks found favour among the populace. Concerned about the risks of untreated waterborne illnesses, Tudors limited their consumption of water and reserved milk, primarily for morning consumption, particularly for children. Interestingly, the Tudors inadvertently pioneered the modern breakfast during the 16th century as a consequence of the evolving concept of employment. With more individuals working for employers rather than tending to their own land, they relinquished control over their time and found themselves labouring through extended, uninterrupted days. A substantial breakfast emerged as a solution, providing sustenance for prolonged work hours. Tudor medicine. Throughout the 16th century, there were some advancements in the field of medicine. However, its essence remained largely reminiscent of practices from the Middle Ages. Tudor physicians commanded high fees, yet their ability to alleviate illness was limited, primarily due to a lack of understanding regarding the causes of diseases and a rudimentary grasp of human anatomy. They operated under the belief that the body consisted of 4 fluids or humours: blood, phlegm, yellow bile, and black bile. Health was perceived as the equilibrium of these humours, and imbalances were believed to lead to illness. Treatment for excess humours varied, with excessive blood often being remedied through bloodletting using leeches or vein incisions, while other imbalances were addressed through dietary adjustments, or purging via medicines inducing vomiting or diarrhea. Astrology also influenced Tudor medical practices, with many physicians attributing specific zodiac signs to different bodily functions. Sweating sickness and smallpox were prevalent epidemics during this era, with even Queen Elizabeth I nearly succumbing to smallpox, receiving advanced treatment involving being wrapped in red cloth to combat the disease. Survivors of smallpox were often left with disfiguring scars known as pockmarks or even blindness. Given the high cost of medical care, many sought the assistance of wise women who possessed extensive knowledge of herbal remedies. However, some Tudor folk remedies bordered on the absurd, such as the use of goat's grease and saffron to treat gout. In Tudor times, surgical procedures were typically performed by barber surgeons, who fulfilled the roles of barber, surgeon, and dentist. These practitioners held lower social status compared to physicians, while apothecaries, responsible for compounding medicines, occupied an even lower rung on the medical hierarchy. Tudor travels. While holiday travel for leisure was not yet a widespread practice during the Elizabethan period, it marked the nascent stages of this cultural shift. Increasingly, individuals embarked on journeys purely for secular purposes, seeking to explore new vistas and enjoy themselves. However, traversing the English landscape presented considerable challenges, as there was no formal road system in place during the 16th century. Most roads were unpaved dirt tracks, and bridges were often precarious, susceptible to damage from heavy rains. Although a trip to the annual fair in one's local town might have been considered a significant excursion for most travellers, wealthier Elizabethans initiated the tradition of the Grand Tour, which would later become immensely popular in subsequent centuries. The Grand Tour entailed spending several months travelling across continental Europe, visiting ancient ruins and Renaissance marvels to enrich their education and broaden their perspectives on life. Italy, France, and Spain emerged as the preferred destinations for these journeys. The Grand Tour was not merely a sightseeing excursion. Participants also engaged in language study and sought instruction from renowned teachers in various disciplines such as art, law, astrology, and even gardening. It was regarded as ideal preparation for those aspiring to careers in politics and diplomacy, offering invaluable exposure to diverse cultures and intellectual pursuits. That's it for today. Thanks for watching. Please do not forget to support my channel by clicking like and subscribe buttons.